On the 3rd of March 2021, at roughly 9 p.m., Sarah Everard, a 33-year-old woman, was walking home to Brixton Hill from her friend's house near Clapham Common. The journey takes about 50 minutes. She spent the first 15 minutes of the journey talking to her boyfriend and agreed to meet him on the next day. And after that, she vanished, disappeared. You see, the forthcoming events of this journey would spark national outrage and shock the entire nation of Great Britain. Marches, protests, demonstrations will follow. What happened to Sarah Everard? Who was responsible for her disappearance? And what was the aftermath of this spine-chilling story? I'm Visca and you're watching Crimeverse. And this is the case of Sarah Everard. Sarah Everard was born in the town of Surrey on July 27, 1987. She was a marketing manager by profession and worked for a digital media agency. She was described as sweet, caring, intelligent, and fun-loving by almost everyone who knew her. Her father, Jeremy, is a professor of electronics at the University of York, whereas her mother works in charity. She grew up in York, where she attended Fulford School, and from 2005 to 2008, she studied human geography at St. Cuthbert's Society, a college of Durham University. Sarah's boyfriend, Josh Luth, is an experienced senior marketer, and on the fateful day of March the 3rd, 2021, Sarah was talking to her boyfriend Josh while walking home from her friend's house. The conversation only lasted for 15 minutes, and unfortunately, this would be their last conversation ever. Sarah Everard went missing on the evening of 3rd March while walking from Clapham Junction area of London to Brixton. Her family, friends, and the police were increasingly concerned. On the 4th of March, Sarah's boyfriend contacted the police after she failed to attend the scheduled meeting. She was caught on the camera a few times, but that was not enough to find her whereabouts. Well, at least for a while. Meanwhile, her family released a public statement, a part of which reads, "She's always in regular contact with us and her friends, and it is totally out of character for her to disappear like this. We long to see her, and want nothing more than for her to be found safe and well." For the next few days, the police put a look into this case with greater intensity, and what they found was horrifying, to say the least. On the night of her disappearance at 9:28 p.m., she was seen on doorbell camera footage on Poindus Road and 4 minutes later on a dashcam of a passing police car. However, a few minutes later she was captured twice by CCTV cameras installed in buses which showed her getting arrested by a police officer. The officer's white Vauxhall car was visible and so was the number plate. This car was booked from a vehicle company in Dover by a Metropolitan Police officer. A police officer's job is primarily focused on keeping the community safe and secure by protecting the people, investigating crimes, and apprehending suspected law violators. But this officer was different. He spent at least a month traveling to London from Kent to research how to best carry out his crime. The police officer had a long plan to carry out a violent sexual assault on a random victim. After finishing a 12-hour shift at the US Embassy that morning, the officer went out hunting for a lone young woman to kidnap and assault. He locked his aim on Sarah while she was walking home. He stopped her and showed her his police warrant card before handcuffing her, claiming that he was arresting her for having breached COVID guidelines and put her in the Vauxhall car. Sadly, it wasn't an arrest. It was an abduction. By 11:43, he reached Dover and transferred her to his personal car. Within the next hour, he would assault her violently, and after his abhorrent thirst was quenched, he strangled her using his police duty belt. On the morning of 4th March 2021, the officer returned his Vauxhall car in Dover and then drove to Sandwich, Kent, where he disposed of Sarah's mobile phone. On the 5th of March, he bought and filled a petrol container at service station in Whitfield. He then drove to Hodswood and burned Sarah's body inside a refrigerator. At 1:47, he bought 2 large builder bags from B&Q before returning to Hodswood on 7th March, where he used one of the bags to dispose of Sarah's remains in a pond. On the 8th of March, he reported himself ill from work, handing in his equipment, including his police belt and handcuffs. The next day, the murderous police officer was arrested, and he was identified as Wayne Couzens. Wayne Couzens was a 48-year-old police officer during the time of the crime. He was born in Deal, a coastal town in Kent. His wife, 38-year-old Elena Couzens, was born in Ukraine. The couple were married for 15 years and had 2 kids together, a son and a daughter. After the arrest, Elena Couzens stated, "I saw nothing wrong. He had a beautiful family, a good house. What else did he need? I'm constantly asking myself, where did I miss the signs? How on earth could this have happened?" She also mentioned that his depression might be a reason for his action. On the 10th of March, police searching Hodswood found human remains in a large builder's bag, approximately 100 meters from a plot of land that Couzens owned. 2 days later, the remains were identified, and by now you all know whose body it was. Also on the same day, Couzens was charged with Sarah Everard's kidnapping and murder. On the 8th of June, Couzens pleaded guilty to kidnap and rape, and on the next day he pleaded guilty to murder. The sentencing hearing before Lord Justice Fulford began on the 29th of September 2021. Couzens' barrister asked Fulford to consider imposing a life with a determinate tariff, which would allow Couzens to become eligible for release on license in his 80s. On the 30th of September, Couzens was sentenced to life imprisonment with a tariff of a whole life order, which means that he'll die in prison. In March 2022, Couzens was further charged with 4 counts of indecent exposure related to alleged incidents in January and February of 2021. As of now, he is imprisoned at HM Prison Frankland in County Durham. The case raised discussion about the role of police in British culture and police violence. The cops were chastised for cracking down on Everard's vigils during the COVID-19 lockdown, as well as failing to prevent the murder. Wayne Couzens had faced at least 2 additional allegations of indecent exposure that had gone uninvestigated, and he had been involved in an incident in 2002 which had also gone unnoticed during his background check. In early October, it was reported that Couzens' colleagues had once been forced to call him back to the station from patrol after a prostitute had visited the station demanding money from him. Radio presenter Emma B. also came forward to say that she had attempted to report Couzens in 2008 after he flashed her in an alley in Greenwich, but instead the police just laughed at her. Countrywide vigils were held on Saturday, the 13th of March 2021. They were organized by a newly formed campaign group named Reclaim These Streets. Vigils still took place in several cities including Birmingham, Bristol, Cardiff, Edinburgh, Leeds, Nottingham, Liverpool and Sheffield. Small gatherings also took place at locations in London. On the 14th of March, more than 1,000 people marched from New Scotland Yard to Parliament Square. Police officers are a select few who undertake a dangerous job. They have done many great things to help better communities, assist people in their off-duty hours, and remain strong in difficult times. Crime in London has increased in the last few years, and almost half of the women say that they have stopped traveling in London at certain times of the day due to concerns about personal safety. In these dire situations, the only people women can rely on are the cops. But after hearing Sarah Everard's story, I don't know whom to trust, and I definitely would love to hear your opinion on this case. So please comment down below what do you think about this case. And if you like true crime cases, you know what to do, right? Well, you can give this video a thumbs up, it will help with the algorithm, and you can subscribe and ring the bell so you'll get notified when I upload a video. More cases are coming, stay tuned and stay safe.